members of the public that have joined through various streaming platforms, just to observe the deliberations of this subcommittee on the matters that are before us today. And would like to also just greet the staff of NERSA. With that, just want to confirm that this is the meeting of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee, meeting number 212, held today, the 5th of February, 2026. With me today, I just want to introduce the members of the subcommittee that are in attendance and will be taking decisions in today's meeting. I would like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Nomfundo Maseti, and I will be chairing this subcommittee meeting. And joining me today is the chairperson of the energy regulator, Mr. Thembani Pukula. I would like Mr. Pukula to greet the members of the public so that they can relate your voice when you speak.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I would like now to introduce Madam Precious Sibiya, who is the member of this subcommittee, as well as the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee of the regulator. Madam Sibiya.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the committee members, NERSA staff members, and also to the members of the public joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce the member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines and the member of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee and various other committees of the regulator, Mr. Muzuvukile Mkhize.
Good morning, Chairperson, members, management and staff of NERSA, as well as the public that is following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce the CEO of NERSA, Advocate Nomalanga Sithole, who is the member of this subcommittee and other committees of the energy regulator.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members and NERSA personnel and everyone who has joined us for this meeting. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Willie Majola, who is the member primarily responsible for electricity at NERSA, and it is his first time joining the Pipe Gas Subcommittee. I would like to welcome him, and I would like him to then greet the members of the public so that they can recognize your voice, Mr. Majola.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues at NERSA, and good morning to all members of the public present here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, members, I would like to go straight to the adoption of the agenda. The agenda has been published, and no matters have been taken out or withdrawn from the agenda that was published for the members of the public for their interest. Members, any changes on the proposed agenda, except that item number 10 and item number 11 will be considered in the governance section of this meeting. If nothing, members, that you would like to raise, I would like members then to then approve the agenda by showing your hands. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Madam Sibiya. Thank you, Mr. Majola. I also support the approval of the agenda, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you very much. Advocate Sithole, I didn't see your hand. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. All right, with that, members, I would like to then go to the item that deals with the declaration of interest. The forms have been uploaded on Convene. If you can kindly remember to complete the forms and submit them to the secretariat of this committee. And if there is any declaration of interest by exception on the matters that are before us, I would like to give you the opportunity now, members, by show of hand. Seems there's none, so there is no verbal declaration for the items. With that, I would like to go straight then to the substantive agenda items that are here for deliberations. I would like to start off with item number 5, which is the consultation document on the guidelines for NERSA's assessment of price or tariff discrimination and applications for distinguishing features. All of these are done under Section 22 of the Gas Act. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair, good morning, Chair, members, colleagues, and members of the public. Chair, the purpose of this consultation document is to test NERSA's interpretation of the Gas Act's non-discrimination provisions with its stakeholders, with a view to ultimately make sure that they are interpreted and applied in a consistent, transparent, and fair manner. Chair, it's worth noting that the consultation document has been developed in partial implementation of the measures that NERSA identified in its 2023 inquiry to identify measures to facilitate competition, investment, and achieve security of supply in the South African pipe gas industry. Measure 3 specifically identified the need to improve transparency in the manner in which NERSA interprets the non-discriminatory provisions of the Gas Act. Chair, the specific aspects that we want to test with our stakeholders include two things. Firstly, the factors that NERSA proposes to consider to test whether undue price or tariff discrimination has taken place in terms of Section 22(1) of the Gas Act, read with the objects of the Gas Act set out in Section 2. Secondly, we also want to test the analytical approach that NERSA intends to follow in considering applications for distinguishing features in terms of Section 22 of the Gas Act. With regards to the factors to test whether undue price or tariff discrimination has taken place, we are proposing a two-part test. The first part of the test is to establish whether price or tariff differentiation has taken place. And we propose to do this by first considering whether gas or gas services that are similar in nature and which have the same direct, indirect, or notional cost to supply are sold to customers at different prices or tariffs. We further propose that in considering differences in the cost of supplying gas or providing gas services to each customer, NERSA considers differences in the direct and indirect costs associated with the objectively justifiable differences listed in Section 22 of the Gas Act, namely quantity, transmission distance, length of contract, load profile, interruptible supply, or any other distinguishing feature in the supply of gas to customers as approved by NERSA. If the answer to this first part of the test is yes, that differentiation has taken place, we then propose to move on to the second part of the test, which is to test the effects of the differentiation and whether it has hampered the achievement of the objects of the Gas Act, including, amongst other things, the impact on competition and principles of fairness. If the differentiation impeded the achievement of the objects of the Gas Act, we are then of the view that undue discrimination would have taken place. With regards to the assessment of applications for distinguishing features, we propose a similar two-part test. The first part of the test is to determine whether the distinguishing feature applied for is underpinned by direct, indirect, or notional cost considerations. And the second part of the test is to consider whether the potential effects of the implementation of the distinguishing feature applied for would contribute to the achievement of the objects of the Gas Act. Chairperson, as indicated up front, this document is intended to test our proposals and views with stakeholders. And we did not think that this clearly came across in the initial annexure that was submitted to the PGS. And we therefore made a few adjustments to that annexure, and the adjustments are contained in an amended annexure A that has been uploaded by RSU as an addendum. Chairperson, we are therefore requesting the PGS to approve the consultation document on the guidelines for NERSA's assessment of price or tariff discrimination and applications for distinguishing features in terms of Section 22 of the Gas Act, attached to the submission as the adjusted Annexure A for publication on NERSA's website. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. du Plessis. Members, the consultation document is before you. It is for noting as well as the approval for stakeholders to comment. Any suggestions? Mr. Mkhize, please go ahead. You're still muted, Mr. Mkhize.
Sorry, muted. Sorry. Chairperson, from my side, I support the recommendation, the document, and also appreciate the research that went into this document. However, just to stress that I think when it comes to the questions themselves, there can be some form of addition. For example, question 1, you could say, please elaborate and provide other theoretical considerations if applicable, just to be complete on this one. And on question 2 and 3, you could also add, please elaborate and provide alternatives with justification, just to complete that, so the person also feels, the reader feels that he or she can add to that and enrich our document. I will leave it at that. Otherwise, I support, as I said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize, for that input. There's no need for you to respond, Ms. du Plessis. I think it is for enhancement, and the enhancement itself is very specific and is very clear. Let me check if other members have anything else to add. I don't see any hands. Thank you for that. Members, then the recommendations have already been read out by Ms. du Plessis, and the document will just be enhanced just to add on those questions, question number 1 and question number 2. The PGS is recommended, it is recommended that the PGS approves this consultation document on the guideline for NERSA's assessment of price or tariff discrimination in terms of Section 22 of the Gas Act, and also just to add those 2 improvements. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Madam Sbiya. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Mr. Majola. I also support. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Mr. Dlamini, if you can just always confirm for the CEO, because I don't see the hand immediately on the on this MS Teams. All right, with that, then we proceed to item number 6, which is the update on the calculations that are done insofar as the MRP, which is your market risk premium, as well as the risk-free rate calculations that are done on a quarterly basis for purposes of transparency in the determination of tariffs, as well as the maximum prices for all stakeholders to see. Please take us through this submission.
Good morning, Chairperson, members and colleagues. As expected, I'll be giving a high-level presentation of the updated market risk premium and risk-free rate calculation for the quarter ended 31st December 2025. I'll start off with the purpose. So the purpose of the submission is to request the Pipe Gas Committee to note the updated market risk premium, MRP, and the risk-free rate, RFR, here too, attached and marked as Annexure A. And to note that the updated MRP and the RFR will be published on the NERSA website. I will now move on to the background, which is found in paragraph 4. So paragraph 4.1 says the energy regulator must, as appropriate, regulate prices in terms of Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act in the prescribed manner. While on the background, I will slightly touch on the purpose of publishing the MRP and RFR calculations. The calculation and quarterly publication of the MRP and the RFR aim to respond to stakeholder requests for consistency in determining these parameters. For that reason, NERSA publishes this information on a quarterly basis. I will now turn to paragraph 4.10, which addresses the central issue of this submission. NERSA calculated the MRP of 4.98% and the RFR of 9.78% for the quarter ended 31st December 2025. A detailed calculation of NERSA's MRP and RFR is attached and marked as Annexure A. Table 2 under paragraph 4.10 presents the MRP and the RFR for the two comparable quarters ended 30 September and 31 December, as well as the movements between these 2 periods. I will now move on to the recommendation, Chairperson. The recommendations are found in paragraph 14 of this submission. Thank you, Chairperson. I'll stop here.
Thank you very much. Let me check if members have any questions on these submissions, the calculations. Members, by show of hands. If not, members, the submission is before the Pipe Gas Subcommittee for noting. It will also be published on the NERSA website, just so that the licensees and other stakeholders can access it. Members, with the recommendation that is to note the quarterly calculation of the market risk premium as well as the risk-free rate, which are going to be used for the tariff calculations and evaluation, as well as the maximum price is here. It has been done. If members can show their support for the noting by raising your hands. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Mr. Majola. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. I also support Madam Sbiya. Thank you very much. Thank you, members, for your support. I now proceed to item number 7, which is the report on the monitoring of compliance by Phambili Gas for its approved transmission tariffs for the period 1st January 2025 until 31st December 2025. Please take us through the submission.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will take the submission as read. Chair, the report on monitoring of Phambili Gas's compliance with the approved transmission tariff is for the period 1 January 2025 until 31st December 2025. The report aims to request the Pipe Gas Subcommittee to note that Phambili has complied with both Section 4H as well as Section 22 of the Gas Act during the period 1 January 2025 until 31st December 2025. Chair, on the 17th of May 2023, the regulator approved Phambili Gas's multi-year transmission tariff application. It was for the period 1 January 2022 until 31st December 2031. And this is reflected in Table 1 of the submission. For the purpose of this monitoring period, the approved tariff that was used to monitor Phambili Gas's compliance with Section 4H is therefore 12 Rand 12 cent. I would like to draw members' attention to Table 2 of the submission, which basically shows that Phambili Gas has complied with Section 4H of the Gas Act by charging its customer a transmission tariff that was below the approved tariff in the period 1 January 2025 until 31st December 2025. Chair, in terms of Phambili Gas's compliance with Section 22 of the Gas Act, which basically aims to ensure that there is no discrimination among customers. Chair, Phambili Gas had one customer in the period under review, and because there are no other customer receiving gas directly from Phambili Gas, Section 22 of the Gas Act is not applicable in this monitoring period, 1 January 2025 until 31st December 2025. Chair, the recommendations are on page 7 under paragraph 14. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that succinct introduction. Members, the submission for the extent of compliance by Phambili Gas is before you for consideration. Any questions of clarity, members? Seems members are comfortable. Members, if I may just then draw your... Mr. Pukula?
Thank you, Chair. It's not a question of clarity. I just wanted us maybe if we could remove that recommendation 14.12. I mean, in 4.15, we say the same thing. And for us to be noting how we apply the law doesn't sound well to me. I mean, that's the law, so we can't be noting that that's what the law says. That's what we are here to do, to implement. So I would remove 14.12, but for the explanation and anything, it is on 4.12 or 4.15, this explanation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, I hope that you are also in agreement with that because it has been assessed. So if there's no, if there's nothing that violated Section 22, the proposal is that we remove 14.1.2. instead of just saying that it does not apply, and then we have to note that and take it as a decision. All right, so the first recommendation or the decision that is sought from the subcommittee then is that the PGS is requested to note that Phambili Gas complied with the section, is supposed to be section 414H in terms of charging the tariff that was approved by the energy regulator and not charging a tariff that is above what was approved. And that is for the period 1st January 2025 up to December 2025. By show of hands, members, and the other recommendation has been removed. By show of hands. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Mr. Mkiza. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Thank you, Madam Sbia, as well as Mr. Majola. Thank you very much, members. If I can now go on to item number 8 of the agenda, which is the progress report on licensees' compliance with Regulation 3 sub 2 as well as Regulation 3 sub 3 of the Pipe Gas Regulation, and read with Section 1 of the Gas Act. This has to do with the provisions pertaining to eligible customers. Please take us through the submission.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning to members and fellow colleagues. Chair, this submission is a progress report on licenses compliance with the Regulation 3 subsection 2 and Regulation 3 subsection 3 of the Pipe Gas Regulations, read with Section 1 and Section 21(1)(s) of the Gas Act relating to eligible customers. The report is submitted for noting. Chair, subsection 21(1)(s) of the Gas Act establishes exclusivity within licensed distribution areas, subject to an important exception, namely eligible customers who are legally entitled to purchase gas directly from suppliers without the intervention of a distribution company. Regulation 3 gives effect to this exception by setting up 2 eligibility pathways. One is the legacy pathway in Regulation 3 subsection 2, which applied once off to customers supplied prior to the issuance of distribution licenses, and continues only for as long as those historical contracts remain valid. For all other customers, the only active pathway is the volume-based threshold in Regulation 3 sub 2, which given the maturity of the market is now effectively the 40,000 gigajoules per annum threshold. Chair, against that background, the report for this reporting period focuses on Sasol Gas and SLG, as these are the 2 licenses operating historically exclusive distribution networks where eligible customer provisions are relevant. Sasol Gas submitted that it did not have any customers who met the eligibility threshold during the reporting period. This was verified against NESA's internal analysis of gas consumption volume and is consistent with the data available to the regulator. SLG submitted a list of eligible customers consisting entirely of legacy customers who had already been qualified in prior years. Again, no new customers met the qualifying threshold during the reporting period. Chair, the report therefore concludes that both Sasol and SLG complied with their license obligations for the period under review. I will stop there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mtiane. I think it would have been great if you had reminded the members that we had those customers that managed to save from the distribution tariff of plus minus 20 rands per gigajoule by now not tapping on the distribution pipeline, but to go straight to the transmission pipeline, which is the essence of the submission that is before us. So they have complied with that. If you just indicate that over the years, and perhaps for the period that we're looking at, then there were no customers that needed to be to be informed of them qualifying to now tap on the transmission pipeline and bypass the distribution one and enjoy the cost savings. So I think it is just important so that it's not a tick box exercise, but it has worked also for customers in the past. Let me open it up for the members if there's anything members that they would like to add or comment on. By show of hands, members. Madam Stoli.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to Mr. Mutiani for the presentation. Mine is just a point of clarity to say under section 3.2, are we only having SASOL and SLG remaining? And that's what I picked up in your verbal presentation. I just need that confirmation. If not, are there any other customers that are still remaining under that particular section in the Gas Act? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Mr. Mutiani, can you please clarify, as we have other licensees, do they have to comply with these regulations, Regulation 3?
Thank you, Chair. The reason other distribution licenses are not reporting on the eligible customer is due to how the eligible customer framework was designed to operate, Chair. The eligible customer framework was developed as a regulatory carve-out to exclusivity created by Section 21(1)(s) of the Gas Act. Its purpose was to ensure that within exclusive distribution areas, large customers would not be locked into purchasing gas from a single distributor once they've met the prescribed threshold. Accordingly, the reporting and notification obligation relating to eligible customers were built into the licenses of distribution companies that were granted statutory exclusivity within defined geographic areas. SASOL and SLG fall into this category, having been licensed under the framework that intentionally provided exclusivity to support infrastructure investment. I'll end there, Chair.
But remember, the trading occurs over the pipeline. So the main distributor that is licensed is SASOL that owns the distribution pipelines. So when they need to reach their customers in terms of trading, they trade through that pipeline. And also SLG has customers that are connected to the trading to the distribution pipeline. So with the other customers, that's what maybe you could, the simplest way of explaining to the CEO, and also provide that clarity insofar as the CNG, the compressed natural gas customers, how this applies if it applies, because they will take only from the transmission and then it gets compressed and injected onto the different technology. So you need to just explain it, making it simple and so that it is well understood. If you can just add on that. Anyone who can add, Mr. Nayo, please. Mr. Numa.
Numa's hand is up.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I just wanted to add that in essence, really, the objective behind this section is to ensure that those that are connected to the distribution pipeline can be able to basically bypass that and connect directly through to the transmission pipeline. And I think, as it was said earlier on, they're incurring quite high costs with regard to distribution tariffs that they're paying on the distribution lines that they're using currently. So really the objective was to allow them, as soon as they get to certain thresholds, which I think Mr. Mtiana mentioned earlier on, to be able to basically then move and transition to basically tapping directly onto transmission pipelines. But with regard to the other customers or the other licensees that are not appearing there, Advocate Sitole, the reason is that, number one, the volumes that they are basically supplying are below the thresholds that are set out in that section for qualification as eligible customers. But as soon as those basically get to levels where they can basically, offtake at those volumes, I think they can, then we can basically bring them in and indicate those that are basically qualified for eligible customers. Thank you, Chair. I think I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, the question is it just these two licensees that must be monitored? Because these are not the only traders that we have. And also in terms of these eligible customers, that is the question. Why do we only have SLG and Sasol, but we have other licensees? Why are they not appearing here? And that explanation is not coming out.
Yeah, Chairperson, I think that's something that will be corrected going forward. I think the reason that the others do not appear was simply on account of the volumes that they basically did. But it's something that will then be corrected going forward so that all those others, and indeed, it's not only those two that are basically off-taking. There are others, but we'll bring them in future. Thanks.
Maslan, thank you. Maslan, in terms of the traders on the distribution and those that are tapping on the distribution pipeline.
Yes, I think Mr. Ngumalo has alluded to the fact that most of those traders, their volumes don't meet the threshold for the eligible customer status. Hence, they were not included in this report. However, for completeness in future, ma'am, we will list all of the traders, list their customers as well as the volumes, so that it's clear that they have not yet at that level of meeting the threshold. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Madam Stole, are you clarified?
I am, Chairperson, and thanks to you and the team. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, members, if there are no further questions, I would like members to take note that for the next report or submission on this matter for compliance, the team will add all of the other licensed traders, and then also just include information pertaining to their customers so that there can be transparency in terms of whether the other customers have reached the threshold, even the minimum threshold that is specified in the regulations, so that members can at least have information in that regard, just to improve on this and everyone to have an understanding why others are not appearing. And then the recommendation is that the Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to note that both Sasol Gas Pty Ltd as well as SLG Pty Ltd complied with Regulation 3 sub 2 as well as Regulation 3 sub 3 of the pipe gas regulations, and those are read with Section 1 as well as Section 21(1) as of the Gas Act of 2001. By show of hands, members, if you are in support of that decision. Thank you, Mr. Bukula. Thank you, Madam Spear. Thank you, Mr. Majola. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Thank you very much, members. The submission has now been noted. We now move on to the last item on this agenda in terms of the open part of our meeting. This is Sasol Gas's monthly gas volume balance report for the month of I don't know why it is the month of July 2025, but please deal with that, Mr. Ngumalo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, just to correct that error, I think it appears to have been made when the documents were compiled. But the volume balance report in question is for December, as can be seen in the submission. Chairperson, in a nutshell, just in the interest of time, this volume balance report then reflects the volumes that were transported from Mozambique side, from the Central Processing Facility, and the volumes that were taken by certain off-takers, including Gwande Sasol Gas and Sasol South Africa. Chairperson, what we've noted in this period is that there has been an increase in the inventory. that being the volumes that were supplied from Mozambique last month, or in November compared to the current. There has been an increase, and I think it's normally a good thing when the inventory actually increases and does not decrease. And I think the other improvement, Chairperson, that you've noted is in the variance. I think members will recall that in the past it was quite high in the negative, and I think it has gone down slightly, and it's gone down to about 97%. Chairperson, the recommendations are on page 21 for noting of the report, but I think perhaps proactively just to inform members that we have received information from social guests that there has been, due to flooding that occurred in Mozambique, there has been impact on the ability to access the central processing facility in Mozambique, but there will be a separate report that they will give to us that indicates the impact of that in terms of the volumes. So it might be that for the next few months to come, there might be a decline as a result of that, but it's going to be a temporary impact. But we'll share that with the members as soon as we get the report from social guests. We just wanted to maybe proactively advise members that we have been informed of that development in Mozambique, and there will be a report coming to deal separately with that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Ngumalo. I hope the report then will be considered in the meeting of March. But I think the section it deals also with the gas that is coming to South Africa. Also sell for Sasol Gas and the other companies in South Africa. So what is important also is the fact that as we know, this is going to impact on the maximum prices, and this is so important for the monitoring. If now this section is highlighted for the members with regards to the decline in the gas, the gas resources from Mozambique, or gas reserves in Mozambique, and the impact of the gas cliff already, it is showing. I think the volumes are increasing. We had about 10 million gigajoules last year, and it seems that it is increasing. So it is something that should come out of this report, so that information that we have here and members have analyzed and looked at, it must now tally with what we get later on from Sasol Gas and what Sasol Gas will reflect in its maximum price, so that there is no discrepancy there. And then we get other volumes that are mentioned that which will affect the price, yet we don't see them here, so that members have a way of verifying that through this report, through the volumes that are submitted in this report. In the past, there were some inconsistencies, but those inconsistencies can be costly, especially when it comes to the maximum price applications. So it's important when this section be read out, but also be packaged now in a way that will show the effect that it might have in the maximum price applications. With that, I would like just the enhancement members, so that members can also understand the significance of this report and some implications arising from what we see here when we now get to the tariffs, as well as when we get to the maximum price, because it will affect both of them because of the gas that we get from Mozambique. With that, members, I would like to open the submission for your consideration. Advocate Sithole.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thanks to the presenter and to your addition. Chair, my question is really related to your verbal addition to this particular report, where you said that there's been an increase in volumes in terms of the gas coming from Mozambique. I just wanted to understand the impact of this, because in terms of the gas cliff, we were given a particular financial year. Does this increase in volume imply that the anticipated final date for gas resources being depleted will be further moved to another financial year? Just For my for information, Chairperson, if you can highlight the impact of the increase to the anticipated financial year of the gas being completely depleted from Maputo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Sitole. No, I didn't mention the increase from my side. It is Mr. Ngumalo who indicated that. From my side, I said the decline, I mentioned the decline is already felt as we had that shortfall, the shortage, meaning that the gas cliff already is being felt. So, and I'm saying that because now it is affecting the volumes coming to South Africa, that also will have implications on the maximum price. So Mr. Ngumalo must just come in on the issue of the increase, because I think in reality, we might not actually have that increase that we are talking about, because we're only tapping on the excess gas in the different fields, in the different agreement from the PPA, the production purchase agreement. We are now on the production sharing agreement. We are just allowed, or Sasol is just allowed some volumes there simply because of the delays in the project of gas to power in Mozambique. So for now, we are just getting that excess, but it is for a limited period of time, but that does not deal or address the problem of the gas cliff. Mr. Ngumalo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, it does not have an impact on the gas cliff. I think the increase that I was referring to was relative to the month of November compared to the month of December. So it's simply just an increase, a slight increase in the inventory in relation to the prior month of November compared to the month of December. But, as confirmed, this does not mean that there will be an extension of the gas cliff period. It's just relative to those 2 months, Advocate Sitole.
Thank you, Mr. Ngumalo. Mr. Nayo, can you explain the part on the inventory? Because it is gas that was already delivered in Secunda. Then when you get for another month, you get other volumes from Mozambique, but it doesn't mean from Mozambique we've got increased or higher volumes of gas again from Mozambique, but it is just the gas in Secunda. Mr. Mahlan, can you just, Mr. Nayo?
Hi, Chair. I think Mr. Ngumalo has explained it clearly that currently there's no additional gas that is going to come or is going to move the gas cliff. However, due to the operation of the infrastructure, depending on where they are on the gas fields, so at times you might just have a slight increase, but it's still from the same gas source, because this gas comes from a reservoir that is underground. So therefore, there's no increase of the reservoir. It's just that at that particular time they were able to withdraw more gas from the gas field and send it through to the Rongo pipeline. So I think Mr. Ngumalo has spoken to it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Madam Sitole, you've got the clarity there with regards to that increase compared the increase between the 2 months, the November and December. It's just that Mr. Ngumalo was referring to that.
I have, Chairperson. Thank you to you and the team. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Members, with that, are you in support of the noting of this monthly volume balance submitted by Sasol, taking note of the fact that the gas cliff is already felt, and also the enhancements now going forward on this report, so that there is a reflection of the explanation on the gas cliff itself and the shortage of the volumes in that regard, if that can be shown in the report going forward. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Mr. Pukula. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Thank you, Madam Sbiya. Mr. Majola. Thank you, Mr. Majola. I also support. Members, this is now the last item that we were required to consider in the public part of our meeting. We have now come to an end of this session, and I would like to thank the stakeholders that have tuned in to follow our deliberations. We would like to then stop the live streaming